run, boy, run. Break out from society.
Not only do the robots endanger your jobs, but we are ready to overtake the ones that are left.
How was I supposed to know? Why can I get this out of my head?
You know, that's a good question. That's why we decided to analyze song text with big data to find an answer. Look. If you ever want to create your own song, make sure you use the words oh, baby, love, time, or see.
But how do you know that?
Well, in almost every song analyzed, we found out that these exact words were used at least once. And you know, songs are mostly about love and feelings in general, so the words that we found are actually very accurate.
You're probably right. We also analyzed the songs of two famous musicians, Coldplay and Drake, which you may or may not know. And we also found the previous words in their tracks. And both always lands at the top of the charts every year. Is that a coincidence?
I don't think so. However, there is still one kind of jobs robots won't be able to replace, and that is creative and artistic jobs.
Yes, it is possible to let computers write our future songs, but human sensibility is one of a kind.
That's true.
So, what was your project about?
Well, our group decided to focus on classification. Classification is a very important step towards creating strong AI that can think independently. In a way, it is actually the first step of reflection. Look, we need to put whatever we're exposed to into a box in order to give it some context, to interpret it correctly, and just to make sense of it, right? And the same holds true for computers. That is why my group set itself the challenge to write a computer program that can tell the difference between a Republican and a Democrat speaking. We fed it a huge database of presidential speeches, and now, if we give the program a text, it will make its prediction as to which party the politician belongs to. In the process, the program helped us to figure out what a typical Democrat sounds like opposed to a typical Republican.
Wow, nice, but that sounds pretty hard.
Well, we chose to do it not because it's easy, but because it is hard. Don't we have to leave for the bus now?
I don't think so. Normally the delay at this time of the day is pretty heavy.
Oh man, public transport sucks.
Oh yeah, it does.
If only we could predict somehow when exactly the bus is going to arrive. We might even have time for another cup of coffee. But we can't.
Yes, we can.
Really? But how?
With big data too. We did analyze the delay of different buses during the day on different bus stops, so we can figure out if it's worth wasting your precious time waiting for a bus that won't even come, especially when it's raining.
Oh, and that's more or less always here in Luxembourg.
Wait, I will just look up the delay of our bus. Okay, so it looks like the bus will come in approximately 15 minutes. So we have time for another cup of coffee.
Nice.
Big data makes public transport great again.
Cheers.
Did you know that the new movie Alien Covenant will be released in about a week? Well, if you're going to see it and are not impressed and want to see real aliens, then we can help you out. In our dataset, which contains about 80,000 entries, we analyzed where exactly the most sightings took place and where you have the highest chances of spotting a UFO. We created a map displaying the best locations. By analyzing various comments people made, We also got aware of the most common characteristics of the UFOs they have spotted. It turns out, most UFOs are being described with the word light.
Now, chess. It's a lot like life. You start out making small choices, moving your pieces around, finding out how the people around you and the world as a whole react. Of course, you make mistakes, but you also take opportunities. And throughout the whole process, you notice more and more patterns. We can learn from these patterns. We can learn strategies, get more opportunities, and in the end, we might even win. Now, this is what we decided to look at when we tackled chess. We looked at over 20,000 games, which were taken from a set of over 20 million games. With them, we found out where the pieces idled, where they lingered, where they moved, where they were destroyed, how long the games were, and so much more. But when I look around the room, I don't see any pawns or rooks in high castles. I see a lot of people, lots of humans with their own lives, and man, there are a lot of patterns here. Thank you.
Now back to more serious matters, because big data does not only calculate your bus schedules, and it does not only tell you how to make your song the most popular one. No, big data is humanity's new book filled with answers to complex questions. We opened a chapter on the sudden death of newborns.
As you might know, every year more than 2,000 babies only in the USA are affected by SIDS, short for sudden infant death syndrome. Now, don't these unspeakable figures drive you crazy, since by definition, SIDS remains unexplained? We are not parents yet, but we do think it's frightening. Please do not expect us to give you any magical solutions tonight. However, we do have big data and covering many risk factors. A perfect example would be a study made about 20 years ago showing that babies sleeping on their tummies are more likely to suffer from SIDS, resulting in a 30% decrease in SIDS cases.
So as you can see, there are possibilities to reduce the chance of SIDS, and big data is one of the keys.
We just want to show you how good our lives are. Sometimes we forget about it and think it's unfair and doesn't offer us everything we want. But then we remember that there's a lot of people around the world who live in much worse conditions and are even happier than us. This shows us that we are spoiled. For us, the fact that we can go to school, have a job, or even access to water is evident.
But if you look onto other countries, you can see that there are people who don't have the chance to get all the things we take for granted. In the world, some children can't have an education, and this brings with it that they can't find a place to work and don't earn money. Some women don't have the same right as men. They can't vote, can't have an education, and can't work just because of their gender. Is it normal that people are treated differently because of the country they live in, because of their gender or their salary? No, it isn't.
We analyze data and put the results in form of maps, which show where in the world most people suffer from poverty, income, or gender inequalities. We found out things we already knew, but reflected on it and think that we have to do something against it.
Everyone knows that an increased education would put an end to so many problems.
But are we really fighting for it?
Are you?
We're learning fast. We are the future digital leaders. Are you ready to work for us? Big thanks to our music and PowerPoint teams back there. Can you please come on stage? Right. And finally, we would like to ask you for a huge applause for our coaches. Woo! Can they come on stage, please?